All right, good morning. We are beginning today with the Srimad Devi Bhagavata Purana, Book 1, Chapter 6. The Rishis said, "O Somya, just now you have spoken of the fight for 5,000 years in that great ocean between Bhagavan Shauri and Madhukaitabha. Shauri being a name of Vishnu, and Madhu and Kaitaba are two different demons. Madhu and Kaitaba. How was it that those two greatly powerful Danavas, invincible of the Devas, came to be born there, and why did Bhagavan Hari kill them? O highly intelligent one, kindly describe that greatly wonderful event. We are all extremely eager to hear it, and you are the great pundit and speaker present before us. It is our good luck that we have come across you here, or more accurately, that he has come across them. As the contact with the illiterate is uncomfortable, so the contact with the literate is very happy, like nectar. The animals in this world live like illiterates. They eat, call for their nature, void urine and feces, and know wonderfully well the sexual intercourse. They only want discriminative knowledge of right and wrong, of the real and unreal, and a knowledge of discrimination leading to moksha, or final liberation. This is the only essential point of difference. Therefore, the persons that have no liking to hear of the Bhagavata and books like it are like beasts, there is no doubt in this. Behold, deer and many other animals can enjoy well the sense of hearing, like humans, and the serpents, even though wanting in the organ of hearing, become charmed quite like humans, as if tasting the pleasure of hearing sweet sounds through their senses of vibration and such. Verily, out of the 5 organs of perception, the organ of hearing and the organ of sight are benefiting, for the knowledge of things arising from hearing, and the heart is, for the knowledge of things arises from hearing, and the heart is pleased by seeing. Therefore, the pundits divide in 3 classes the objects of hearing as sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. The Vedas and other shastras are sattvic to hear. The literature sahitya is the rajasic, and war news and finding fault with others is tamasic. The wise person again subdivided the sattvic in 3 subclasses: good, middling, and worst. That which gives moksha is good or excellent. That which gives heavens is middling. And that which gives pleasure in this world is worst of that which is still sattvic. In the same way, the literature sahitya is of 3 kinds. That which describes the people to live with their legitimate wives is the best, which describes about prostitutes is the middling, and that which makes people live with others' wives is the worst. This is, of course, literature about sexual and romantic relationships, the rajasic literature. The seers of the Shastras, the learned, divide the subjects of the tamasic hearing into 3 classes. That in which fight with the enemies is described as best, where the fight, as that of the Pandavas, with the enemies out of hatred and ill feeling, is described as middling, and that where fighting is described without any cause is worst. Therefore, O highly intelligent one, hearing the Puranas is far superior to hearing other Shastras, for thereby sins are destroyed, intellect is increased, and punyam is stored up. So, O intelligent one, kindly describe to us the Puranas, fulfilling all the requirements of life that you heard before from the mouth of Krishna Dvaipayana. Hearing these words of the Rishis, Sutta said, O highly fortunate ones, when you all are desirous to hear the Puranas, and I am ready to tell them, then both of us are blessed on the surface of the earth. And then he gets to their original question. In days of yore, in the time of Pralaya, the universal dissolution, when the 3 lokas and the entire universe are dissolved in water, when the Deva Janardana was lying asleep on the bed of Ananta, the 1,000-headed serpent, there arose from the wax of the ear of Bhagavan Vishnu the 2 very powerful Daityas, Madhu and Kaitaba. They grew in the waters of the ocean, and played around in the waters, and thus passed some of their time. Once on a time, when those two huge-bodied Danavas were playing with each other like two brothers, they thought that the general rule of the universe is that no effect takes place without a cause, and nothing can rest without the receptacle thereof. It must rest on something. But, they thought, we cannot understand what is our receptacle, or who is resting on us. Whereon rests this pleasant expanse of wide ocean? Who was it that created this? How was this created? Why are we living here within the water? Who created us? Who are our mother and father? Nothing of all these we know. Thus thinking, when they could not come to any conclusion, Kaitapa spoke the Madhu beside him within the waters. O brother, it seems to me the great immovable force that makes us rest in this water is the cause of all. This whole mass, and by this great immovable force, meaning this great immovable Shakti, this whole mass of water too, pervaded by that Shakti, rests on that. That highest Devi must be the cause of us. When the two asuras, merged in this thought, understood this, they heard in the air the beautiful Vagbija, the seed mantra of Vak, the speech, the Devi Saraswati. It is not that this sound wasn't there before, but when they were merged in the thought of the Shakti, they perceived it. They then began to pronounce repeatedly the Vakvija mantra and practiced it with great steadfastness. Next they saw, risen high up in the air, the auspicious lightning, and thought, certainly our mantra that we are repeating has made herself visible in this form of light, and thus we have seen certainly in the air the saguna form of Saraswati, the goddess of speech. Thus thinking in their minds, they, without any food, with their minds controlled, constantly thought of that, with their whole mind collected on that, and repeating and meditating on the mantra became one with that. Thus they passed 1,000 years in practicing that great tapas. When the highest Adya Shakti became pleased with them, and seeing the two Danavas steadfast in the practice of tapas, tired, addressed them invisibly in the way of a celestial voice, thus: O two Danavas, I am exceedingly pleased with your tapasya, so ask a boon. Whatever you desire, I will grant it. Hearing then the celestial voice thus, the two Danavas said, O Devi, O Suvrate, grant us that we will die when we will. Hearing this, Vagdevi said, O two Danavas, certainly by my grace you two will die when you will, and you two brothers will be invincible of all the suras and asuras. There is no doubt in this. Suras and asuras, the suras, of course, is another word for the devas. Sutta said, when the Devi granted them this boon, the two Danavas, puffed up with pride, began to play with the aquatic animals in the ocean. O Brahmins, some days thus passed away, when the two powerful Danavas saw the Brahma, the Prajapati, seated on the lotus of the navel of Hari. Doubt came on their minds, and they told him with a view to fight. O Suvrata, either fight with us, or leave off this lotus seat. So they called the, anyway. O Suvrata, either fight with us, or leave off this lotus seat and go anywhere you like. If you be so weak, this auspicious lotus seat is not fit for you, for this should be enjoyed by heroes. So if you be a coward, leave it quickly. Hearing these words of the Danavas, Prajapati, engaged in the practice of tapasya, saw the two great powerful heroes and began to think anxiously, what should be done now? And waited there. Thus ends the 6th chapter of the 1st skandha on the preparation for war by Madhukartapa and the Mahapurana Srimad Devi Bhagavatam by Maharshi Vedavyasa. Chapter 7. Sutta said, seeing the two Danavas very powerful, Brahma, the knower of all the Shastras, thought of the means, Sama, Dana, Bheda, Danda, which of these four he should apply. So these are, according to the Shastras, the four means of dealing with a hostile enemy. Sama literally means sameness or conciliation, diplomacy. Try see if you can negotiate with them and come to an agreement, as opposed to conflict. Dana, which is literally giving gifts, or bribing them. Bheda is literally means difference, sowing dissensions among them. See if you can turn some of them against the others. Or danda, literally striking, to fight them with force and destroy your enemy with violence. These are the four shastric means of dealing with enemies. Typically, each is considered better than those that follow. So ideally, diplomacy, come to an agreement, then see if you can just buy them off, then see if you can turn them against each other. Last resort, just destroy them with violence. He thought thus, I do not know their strength, and it is not advisable to enter into war without knowing the enemy's strength. Again, if I offer praises to them, puffed up with pride, it will be simply displaying my own weakness. And when they will come to know this, only one of them will be sufficient to kill me, and this they will do certainly. To offer bribes is also not advisable, and how can I sow dissensions? Therefore it is best that I should rouse the four-armed Janardana Vishnu, who is very powerful, from his sleep on the thousand-headed Ananta serpent. He will remove my difficulties. Thus thinking in his mind, Bhagavan Brahma, the lotus-born, remained in the tubular stalk of the lotus from Vishnu's navel, and thence took refuge. So in other words, he retreated into the stalk rather than sitting on the top of the flower, and thence took refuge mentally of Vishnu, the remover of difficulties, and began to chant auspicious hymns composed of various meters to Jagannath Narayana, involved in deep yoga nidra. He said, O refuge of the poor, O Hari, O Vishnu, O Vamana, O Madhava, thou art the Lord of the universe and omnipresent. O Hrishikesha, thou removest all the difficulties of thy devotees. Therefore leave your yoga nidra and get up. O Vasudeva, O Lord of the universe, thou residest within the hearts of all and knowest their desires. O thou holder of the disc and club, thou always destroyest the enemies of thy devotees. O omniscient one, thou art the Lord of all the lokas and all powerful. No one can know what is thy form. O Lord of the Devas, thou art the destroyer of all pains and sufferings. So get up and protect me. O protector of the universe, nothing is concealed from thy eyes. Everyone becomes pure by hearing and chanting thy name. Thou art Nirakara, without any form. Yet thou createst, preservest, and destroyest the universe. O cause of the world, O supporter of all, thou art shining as King of Kings over all. And yet, dost thou not understand that the two Danavas, puffed up with pride, have become ready to kill me? If thou dost neglect me, seeing me very much distressed and under your protection, then thy name as preserver will become quite useless. Thus praised, when Vishnu did not get up, Brahma thought, Bhagavan Vishnu is now surely under the influence of sleep, of the primal force, Adya Shakti, and is not therefore getting up. What am I to do now, thus distressed? These two Danavas, elated with pride, are ready to kill me. Now what am I to do, and where shall I go? I don't find anybody who can protect me anywhere. Thus thinking, Brahma came to the conclusion and decided to chant hymns to Yoga Nidra herself with one pointed heart. Discussing in his mind, he thought that the Adya Shakti, the prime force which kept Bhagavan Vishnu senseless and motionless, would alone be able to save him. As a dead man cannot hear any sound, he thought, so Hari, merged in deep sleep, knows not anything. When I have praised him so much, and when he has not awakened, then it is certain that sleep is not under Hari, but Hari is under sleep, and he who is under another becomes his slaves. So this Yoga Nidra is now exercising her control over Hari. Again, she too, who brought Hari under control, that daughter of the Kshira ocean, is now under the control of Yoga Nidra. So it seems that Bhagavati Mahamaya has brought the whole universe under her control. Whether it be myself, or Vishnu, or Shambhu, or Savitri, or Rama, or Uma, all are under her control. Is there anything to be doubted here? what to speak of other high-souled persons? Now I will chant hymns to Yoga Nidra, under whose influence Bhagavan Hari even is lying under deep sleep, inert like an ordinary man. When the eternal Vasudeva Janardana will be dispossessed by her, then he will no doubt fight with the Danavas. Thus deciding, Bhagavan Brahma, seated on the tubular stalk of the lotus, began to chant hymns to Yoga Nidra, residing on the body of Vishnu. Brahma said, O Devi, I have come to understand, on the authority of all the words of the Vedas, that thou art the only one cause of this universal Brahmanda. The more so, when thou hast brought the best Purusha Vishnu, the Adipurusha Vishnu, endowed with discrimination above all beings, under the control of sleep, then the above remark is self-evident. O thou, the player in the minds of all beings, O Mother, I am extremely ignorant of the knowledge of thy nature. When Bhagavan Hari is sleeping inert by thy power, then who is there amongst kotis and kotis of the wise who can understand completely the Leela full of Maya of thine, who art beyond the gunas? The Sankhya philosophers say that the Purusha is the pure conscious being, and that thou art the Prakriti, without any consciousness, inert material, creatrix of the universe. But, O Mother, art thou really inert like that? Never like that. Had it been like that, how is it that thou hast made Bhagavan Hari, the receptacle of the world, quite unconscious like this? O Bhavani, thou, being beyond the gunas, art displaying like a dramatic performance these various dramatic plays by the conjunction with the three gunas. It is thy three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, that the munis, it is by thy three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, that the munis meditate every day in the morning, midday, and evening, the three sandhyas, but no one is aware of thy ways of doings. O Devi, thou art of the nature of the judgment and understanding, giving rise to knowledge of all the beings in the universe. Thou art always the Sri, the wealth and prosperity, giving pleasures to the devas. O Mother, thou art reigning in all as Kirti, or fame, Mati, Dhriti, or intellect, fortitude, Kanti, beauty, Sraddha, faith, and Rati, enjoyment. O Mother, now I am put to great difficulties, and therefore I have got eyewitness of thy nature. No need of further reasoning and discussing about it. I have now known that verily, verily, thou art the only mother of all the worlds, as thou hast brought Hari under the influence of sleep. O Devi, now when it is evident that all the worlds have come from thee, then the Vedas have also come from thee. What doubt is there? So the Vedas too do not know fully thy nature, for the effect can never know its cause. So it is very true that thou art incomprehensible of the Vedas. O Mother, when I, Hari, Hara, and the other Devas, and my son Narada and other Munis have not been able to realize thy nature fully, then who else can be so intelligent in this world that will realize all thy nature? So thy glory is beyond the speech of all beings. O Devi, even the place of Yajna, the ritualists, the knower of the Vedas, do not utter thy name, Swaha, then the Devas, participators of the offerings in Yajna, do not get their share, however hundreds of oblations be offered. So thou art also the giver of sustenance and allowances to the Devas. O Bhagavati, in previous kalpas, thou hast saved me terrified from the fear of the Danava. O Devi Varade, now too I am terrified at the sight of the terrible forms of Madhu and Gaitaba, and take thy refuge. O high-minded one, now I thoroughly see that by thee, by thy power Yoga Nidra, the whole body of Bhagavan Vishnu is senseless. But how is it that thou dost not realize my sufferings? So either dost thou leave possession of this Adideva, or destroy thyself, these two Danavendras. Dost do either of the two as thou likest. O Devi, those that do not know thy extraordinary powers, those stupid ones meditate Hari, Hara, etc. But, O Mother, by thy grace I realize today as I witness that Vishnu even is today lying unconscious in deep sleep, totally senseless of anything outside by thy force, by thy Shakti. O Bhagavati, now when Kamala, the daughter of Sindhu, is unable to rouse her husband Hari by her effort, or rather thou hast made her to perforce sleep unconsciously, It seems she is without any effort and does not know anything of what is going on outside. O Devi, verily those are blessed who worship thy lotus feet with their whole heart full of devotion, and without any hope of getting rewards, abandoning the worship of other devas and knowing thee as the creatrix of the whole world and the giver of all desires. Alas, now the intelligence, beauty, fame, and all good qualities have forsaken Hari and fled away to some unknown quarters. O Bhagavati, thou art really adorable in the three worlds, for by thy power of Yoga Nidra, Hari has been kept in prison, as it were, in this way. O Mother, thou art the Shakti of all this universe, and endowed with all prowess and energy. All other things are thy creation. As a dramatic player, though one, plays in the theater, assuming many forms, so thou too, being one, playest always in this charming theater of the world, created by thy gunas in various forms. O Mother, thou, in the beginning of the yugas, dost manifest first the Vishnu form, and givest him the pure Sattvik Shakti, free from any obscuration, and thereby madest him preserve the universe. And now it is thyself that has kept him thus unconscious. Therefore it is an undoubted fact that thou art doing whatever thou willest, O Bhagavati. I am now in danger. If it be thy desire not to kill me, then dost break the silence. Look on me and show thy mercy. O Bhavani, if it be not thy desire to kill me, then why hast thou created these two Danavas, my death incarnate? Or is it that thou wantest to put me to ridicule? I have come to know of thy wonderful acts. Thou createst this whole universe, and thyself remaining aloof, playest always, and in the time of Pralaya resolvest everything again into thee. Therefore, O Bhavani, what wonder is there that thou wouldst want to kill me in this way? But, O Mother, I won't feel any pain if thou willingly killest me. But this is to my great dishonor, that being given power over these beings, I would then be made an object to be killed by the Daityas. This indeed is hard to me. So, O thou Leela Mai, like a sportive girl, get up, O Devi, assumest the wonderful form thyself, and killest me or the two Daityas as thou willest, or rouse Hari, who will then kill the Daityas. All these are in thy hands. Sutta said, thus praised by Brahma, the Nidra Devi, the goddess of sleep, of the nature of Tamoguna, quitted the body of Bhagavan Hari and stood by him. When thus left completely by the Devi Yoga Nidra, of unequaled brilliance and splendor, for the destruction of Madhukaitaba, Vishnu began to move his body, and at this Brahma became very glad. Thus ends the 7th chapter of the first skandha on the praise of the Devi, and the Mahapuranam Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharshi Veda Vyas. Chapter 8. The Rishis said, O highly fortunate one, a great doubt has arisen on your statement. This is ascertained by all the wise, as written in the Vedas, Puranas, and other Shastras, that Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, these three devas, are eternal. None is superior to them in this Brahmanda. Brahma creates all the beings, Vishnu preserves, and Maheshwara destroys all in due time. These are the causes of creation, preservation, and destruction. The Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesha, are really one form. Indeed, Trinity in unity and unity in Trinity. Being endowed respectively with Sattva, Raja, and Tamo gunas, they do their respective works. Amongst these again, Purushottama Adi Deva Jagannath Hari, the husband of Kamana, is the best, for he is capable of doing all the actions. No other than Vishnu, as of unrivaled prowess, is so capable. How is it, then, that Yoga Maya had overpowered Hari with sleep and made him altogether senseless? O highly fortunate one, whither did then go that extraordinary self-knowledge and power, etc., of Hari while alive? This is our greatest doubt. So kindly advise us that our doubt be removed, and our well-being be thus ensured. What is that Shakti which you mentioned to us before, as well by whom Vishnu is conquered? Whence is she born? What is the power of that Shakti, and what is her nature? O Suvrata, explain to us these fully. How was it that Yoga Maya overpowered with sleep the highest deity Bhagavan Vishnu, who is everlasting intelligence and bliss, who is the God of all, the Guru of the whole world, the creator, preserver, and destroyer, who is omnipresent, an incarnation of purity and holiness and beyond Rajoguna. How was such a personage brought under the control of sleep? O Sutta, you are very intelligent and the pupil of Vyasadeva. Destroy this our doubt by the sword of wisdom. Hearing this, Sutta said, O highly fortunate Munis, there is none in the three lokas who can clear this your doubt. The mind-born sons of Brahma, Narada, Kapila, and other eternal sons get bewildered by these questions. What can I then say on this very difficult point? See, some persons call Bhagavan Vishnu omnipresent, the preserver of all and the best of all the devas. According to them, all this universe, moving and non-moving, is created by Vishnu. They bow down before the highest Narayana, Hrishikesha, Janardana, Vasudeva, and worship him. Whereas others worship Mahadeva Shankara, having Gauri for the other half of his body, endowed with all powers, residing in Kailasa, surrounded by hosts of bhutas that destroyed Daksha's yajna, who is mentioned in the Vedas as Shashishekara, or the moon-crowned, with 3 eyes and 5 faces, and holding the trident in his hand, and known as Vrishadhaja and Kapardi. O highly intelligent ones, there are some other persons that know the Vedas and worship the sun every day, in the morning, midday, and in the evening, with various hymns. In all the Vedas, it is stated that the worship of the sun is excellent, and they have named the high-souled sun as Paramatma, the highest deity. Whereas there are other Vedavits, other knowers of the Vedas, who worship the Devas, Agni, Indra, and Varuna. But the Maharshis say that as Ganga Devi, though one, is expressing herself by many channels, so the one Vishnu is expressing in all the Deva forms. Those who are big pundits declare perception, inference, and verbal testimony as the 3 modes of proofs. The Naiyayic pundits, the pundits of Nyaya, add to the above 3 a 4th proof, which they call Upama, resemblance, similitude, and some other intelligent pundits add another 5th proof called Artapatti, an inference from circumstances or presumption, implication. It is deduction of a matter from that which could not else be. It is assumption of a thing not itself perceived, but necessarily implied by another which is seen, heard, or proved. Whereas the authors of the Puranas add 2 others, called Sakshi and Aitijya, thus advocating 7 modes of proofs. Now, the Vedanta Shastra says that the Supreme Being, Param Brahman, the prime cause of the universe, cannot be comprehended by the above-mentioned 7 proofs. Therefore, first of all, adopt the reason leading to sure belief, the buddhi, according to the words of the Vedas, and to discriminate and discuss again and again, and draw your inference about a Brahman. And the intelligent person should adopt what is seen by perception as self-evident, and what is inferred by the observance of good conduct. The wise persons say, and it is also stated in the Puranas, that the prime force, the Parashakti, is present in Brahma as the creative force, is present in Hari as the preservative force, and is present in Hara as the destructive force. So the creative Shakti, the preservative Shakti, the destructive Shakti, is present in Kurma and in Ananta as the earth-supporting Shakti, the Bhudharana Shakti, is present in fire as the burning Shakti, is present in air as the moving Shakti, and so is present everywhere in various manifestations of Shaktis, the different forces, the different ways that energy moves. In this whole universe, whoever he may be, all are incapable of any action if he be deprived of his Shakti. What more than this, if Shiva be deprived of Kula Kundalini Shakti, he becomes a lifeless corpse. A great ascetic rishis. She, Shakti, is present everywhere thus, in everything in this universe, from the highest Brahma to the lowermost blade of grass, all moving and non-moving things. Verily, everything becomes quite inert if deprived of Shakti. Whether in conquering one's enemies, or in going from one place to another, or in eating, one finds oneself quite incapable if deprived of Shakti. Thus the omnipresent Shakti, the wise call by the name of Brahman. Those who are verily intelligent should always worship her in various ways and determine thoroughly the reality of her by every means. In Vishnu, there is the Sattviki Shakti. Then he can preserve, otherwise he is quite useless. So in Brahma, there is Rajasi Shakti, and he creates, otherwise he is quite useless. In Shiva, there is Tamasi Shakti, and thus he destroys, else he is quite useless. Thus arguing again and again in one's mind, everyone should come to know that the highest Adya Shakti, by her mere will, creates and preserves this universe, and she it is who destroys again in time the whole Brahmanda, moving and non-moving. No one is capable to do his respective work, be he Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, Indra, Agni, Surya, Varuna, or any other person whatsoever. Verily, all the Devas perform their respective actions by the use of this Adya Shakti. That she alone is present in cause and effect and is doing every action can be witnessed vividly. The intelligent ones call that Shakti twofold. One is Saguna and the other is Nirguna. The people, attached to the senses and their objects, worship the Saguna aspect, and those who are not so attached worship the Nirguna aspect. That conscious Shakti is the lady of the fourfold aims of life, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. When she is worshipped according to due rules, she awards all sorts of desires. The worldly persons, charmed by the Maya of this world, do not know her at all. Some persons know a little and charm others, whereas some stupid and dull-headed pundits, impelled by the Kali Yuga, start sects of heretics, pashandas for the sustenance of their own bellies. O highly fortunate munis, this of course referring to false pundits, charlatans, and false claimants to be gurus, and so on. O highly fortunate munis, in no other yugas were found acts as prevalent as in this Kali Yuga, based on various different opinions and altogether beyond the pale of the Vedic injunctions. Behold again, if Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesha be the supreme deities, then why do these three devas meditate on another one, beyond speech, beyond mind, and practice for years hard austerities? And why do they perform yajnas for their success in creation, preservation, and destruction? They know verily the highest supreme being, Brahmani Devi Shakti, eternal, constant, and therefore they meditate on her always in their minds. Therefore the wise man, knowing this firmly, should serve in every way the highest Shakti. O Munis, this is the settled conclusion of all the Shastras. I have heard of this great hidden secret from Bhagavan Krishna Dvaipayana. He heard it from Narada, and Narada heard it from his own father Brahma. Brahma heard this from Vishnu. O Munis, it is well that the wise even should not hear or think anything to the contrary from other sources. They should, with their concentrated heart, serve the Brahman, Sanatani Shakti. It is clearly witnessed in this world that if there be any substance wherein this conscious Shakti does not exist, it becomes inert, quite useless for any purpose. So know this fully, that it is the highest divine mother of the universe that is playing here, residing in every being. Thus ends the 8th chapter of the first skandha in the Mahapurana Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharshi Veda Vyasa. Chapter 9. Sutta said, O Munis, when the excellent Tamasi Shakti, the goddess presiding over sleep, came out from the eyes, mouth, nose, heart, etc., of the body of the Jagadguru Vishnu, and rested in the celestial space, then the powerful Lord Vishnu began to yawn, and got up. He saw the Prajapati Brahma terrified, and spoke to him in words deep like rumbling in the clouds. O Bhagavan Padmayone, what makes you come, Padmayone meaning lotus-born. O lotus-born God, what makes you come here and leave your tapasya? Why do you look so terrified and anxious? Hearing this, Brahma said, O Deva, the two very powerful and very terrible Daityas, Madhukaitava, sprung of the wax of thy ears, approach to kill me. Terrified thus, I have come to thee. So, O Lord of the universe, O Vasudeva, now I am quite out of my senses and terrified. Save me. Vishnu said, Now go and rest in peace without any fear. Let those two stupid beings whose life has been well nigh exhausted come to me for battle. I will certainly kill them. Suta said, While Bhagavan Vishnu, the Lord of all the Devas, was thus saying, those two very powerful Danavas, elated with pride, came up there in their search for Brahma. O Munis, the two proud Daityas stood there in the midst of the Pralaya water, without anything to stand on, and with calm attitude. They then spoke to Brahma as follows. Oh, you have fled and come here? You cannot escape. Go on and fight. I will kill you before this one. Then I will kill him also who sleeps on this bed of the serpent. Either give us battle or acknowledge yourself as our servant. Hearing their words, Janardana Vishnu addressed them as follows. O two Danavas mad for war, come and fight with me as you like. I will surely curb your pride. O two powerful ones, if you trust me, come and fight. Hearing this, the two Danavas in the midst of that mass of water, resting without any support, came up there to fight, with their eyes rolling with anger. The Daitya named Madhu became very angry, came up quickly to fight, while Kaitaba remained where he stood. Then the hand-to-hand fight ensured between the two furious athletes. Bhagavan Hari and Madhu became tired. Kaitaba came up and began to fight. After that, Madhu and Kaitaba joined and, blind with rage, began to fight again and again, hand to hand, with the very powerful Vishnu. And Bhagavan Brahma and the prime force Adya Shakti witnessed this from the celestial heavens. So the fight lasted for a long, long time. Yet the two Danavas did not feel a bit tired. Rather, Bhagavan Vishnu became tired. Thus 5,000 years passed away. Hari then began to ponder over their mode of death. He thought, I fought for 5,000 years, but the two formidable Danavas have not been tired at all. Rather, I am tired. It is a matter of great surprise. Where has gone my prowess? And what for the two Danavas were not tired? What is the cause? This is a matter now seriously to be thought over. Seeing Bhagavan Hari thus sunk in cares, the two haughty Danavas spoke to him with great glee, and with a voice like that of the rumbling of clouds. O Vishnu, if you feel tired, if you have no sufficient strength to fight with us, and raise your folded palms on your head and acknowledge that you are our servant. Or if you can, go on fighting. O intelligent one, we will take away your life first, and then slay this four-faced Brahma. Hearing the words of the two Danavas resting there without any support in the vast ocean, the high-minded Vishnu spoke to them in sweet, consoling words. See, O heroes, no one ever fights with one who is tired, afraid, who is weaponless, who has fallen, or who is a child. This is the dharma of heroes. Both of you fought with me for 5,000 years, but I am single-handed. You are two, and both equally powerful, and both of you took rest at intervals. I will therefore take rest for a while, and then fight with certainty. Both of you are very powerful and very much elated in vanity, therefore rest a while. After taking rest for a while, I will fight with you according to the just rules of warfare. Hearing these two words of Hari, the two chief Danavas trusted him and withdrew far away, ready to fight again. Now the four-armed Vasudeva, seeing them at a sufficient distance, began to ponder in his mind thus. How can their death be effected? Thinking for a time, he came to know, through his omniscience, that they had been granted by the Supreme Shakti Devi Ichamrityu, death at their will only. And therefore they are not getting tired. Not only death, but damage or exhaustion or defeat in any way can only come to them if they will it. I fought so long with them uselessly, he thought. My labor went in vain. How then can I now fight with this certain knowledge? Again, if I do not fight, how these two Danavas, elated with their boon and giving troubles to all, can be destroyed. And the boon is granted by the Devi. Their death is well nigh impracticable. Who wants his own death, even placed in very great distressed circumstances, attacked by terrible diseases, reduced to indigent poverty, even still no one wants to die. So how can it be expected that these two haughty Danavas would want their death themselves? Therefore it is advisable for me to take refuge of that Adya Shakti Devi, the giver of the fruits of all desires. No desires can ever be fructified unless she is thoroughly pleased. Thus thinking, Bhagavan Vishnu saw beautiful Devi, Yoga Nidra Shiva, shining in the air. Then the supreme yogi, Bhagavan Vishnu, of immeasurable spirit, began to praise with folded palms that great Bhuvaneshwari Mahakali, the giver of boons, for the destruction of the Danavas. O Devi, I bow down to thee. O Mahamaya, the creatrix and destructrix, thou beginningless and deathless. O auspicious Chandike, the bestower of enjoyment and liberation. I do not know thy saguna or nirguna forms. How then can I know thy glorious deeds, innumerable as they are? Today thy indescribable prowess has been experienced by me, I being made senseless and unconscious by thy power of sleep. Being tried again and again by Brahma with great care to bring me back to my consciousness, I could not become conscious, so much my senses were contracted down. O mother, by thy power thou didst keep me unconscious, and thou again hast freed me from sleep. And I also fought many times. O giver of one's honor, now I am tired, but thou hast granted a boon to the two Danavas, and therefore they are not getting tired. These two Danavas, puffed up with pride, were ready to kill Brahma, and therefore I challenged them to fight with me, and they too are fighting fiercely with me in this vast ocean. But thou hast granted them the wonderful boon that they will die whenever they will, and not at any other time. And therefore I have come now to thy refuge, as thou protectest those that come under thy shelter. Therefore, O mother, the remover of the Deva's troubles, these two Danavas are becoming exceedingly elated by thy boon, and I am tired. Therefore dost thou help me now. See, these two sinners are ready to kill me. Without thy grace, what can I do now and where to go? Thus praised by the eternal Vasudeva Jagannatha Hari with humility and pranams, the Devi Mahakali, resting in the air, said smiling, O Deva Deva Hari, fight again, O Vishnu. These two heroes, when deluded by my Maya, will be slain by you. I will delude them certainly by my sidelong glance. O Narayana, then slay quickly the two Danavas when conjured by my Maya, or when enchanted by my Maya. Sutta said, hearing these loving words of Bhagavati, Bhagavan Vishnu went to the scene of battle in the middle of that ocean. When the two powerful Danavas, of serene tempers and eager to fight, became very glad on seeing Vishnu returning to battle, and said, O four-armed one, we see your desire is very lofty indeed. Well, stand, now be ready for battle, knowing that victory or defeat is surely dependent on destiny. You should think now thus. Though it is generally true that the more powerful one wins victory, it also happens sometimes that the weak gets the victory by a queer turn of fate. So the high-souled persons should not be glad at their victories, nor should express their sorrows at their defeat. So don't be glad, thinking that you on many former occasions fought with many Danavas who were your enemies and got the victory, nor be sorry now that you are defeated by two Danavas. Thus saying, the powerful Madhukaitava came up to fight. Seeing this, Bhagavan Vishnu struck them immediately with his fists with great violence. The two Danavas, elated with their strength, struck Hari in return with their fists. Thus the fighting resumed vigorously. Now seeing the two Danavas of great prowess, fighting on incessantly, Narayana Hari cast a glance expressive of great distress towards the face of the Devi Mahakali. Seeing Vishnu thus distressed, the Devi laughed loudly and began to look constantly with eyes somewhat reddish, and shot towards the two Asuras sidelong glances of love and amorous feelings, which were like arrows from Kamadeva. The two vicious Daityas became fascinated by the sidelong glances of the Devi and took great pleasures in them, being extremely agitated by these amorous darts, looked with one steady gaze towards the Devi of spotless luster. Bhagavan Hari too saw the wonderful enchanting Leela of the Devi. Then Hari, perfectly expert in adopting means to secure ends, began to speak smiling, and in a voice like that of the rumbling cloud, knowing the two Danavas enchanted by Mahamaya. O two heroes, I am very pleased at the mode of your fighting. So ask from me boons, I will grant them to you. I saw many Danavas before fighting, but never I saw them expert like you, nor I heard like this. I am therefore very much satisfied by your such unrivaled powers. Therefore, O greatly powerful pair of Danavas, I wish to grant both of you any boon that you want. Seeing the Devi Mahamaya, the gladdener of the universe, the two Danavas felt themselves amorous, and therefore they became proud on hearing Vishnu's words and told Vishnu, with their lotus-like eyes wide open, thus, O Hari, what do you like to give us? We are not beggars. We do not want anything from you. O Lord of the Devas, rather, we will give you whatever you desire. We are donors, not receivers. So, O Vasudeva, Hrishikesha, we are glad to see your wonderful fighting. So ask from us any boon that you desire. Hearing their words, Bhagavan Janardana said, if you both are so much pleased with me, then I want this, that both of you will be killed by me. Hearing these words of Vishnu, Madhu and Kaitaba became very much wondered and thinking, we are now cheated, and remained for some time merged in sorrow. Then reflecting that there was water everywhere and solid earth nowhere, they said, O Janardana Hari, we know that you are truthful. Therefore now we want this desired boon from you that you offered to grant us before. Now grant us this desired boon of ours. O Madhusudana, we will be slain by you, but kill us, O Madhava, on a solid ground, free from any water, and thus keep your word. Sri Bhagavan Hari laughed, and remembering his Sudarshana Chakra, said, O two highly fortunate ones, verily I will kill both of you on the vast solid spot without any trace of water. Thus saying, the Deva Hari expanded his own thighs, and showed to those Danavas the vast solid earth on the surface of the water, and said, O two Danavas, see, here is no water. Place your heads here. Thus I will keep my word, and you will keep yours. Hearing this, Madhu and Kaitaba thought over in their minds, and expanded their bodies to 10,000 yojanas. Bhagavan Vishnu Hari also extended his thighs to twice that amount. Seeing this, they were greatly surprised, and they laid their heads on the thighs of Vishnu. Vishnu, of wonderful prowess, then cut off quickly with his Sudarshana Chakra the two very big heads over his thighs. Thus the two Danavas, Madhu and Kaitaba, passed away, and the Meda, the marrow of them, filled the ocean. O Munis, for this reason, this earth is named Medini, and the earth is unfit for edible purpose. Thus I have described to you all that you asked. The sum and substance is this, that the wise persons should serve Mahamaya with all their hearts. The Supreme Shakti is worshipped by all the Devas. Verily, verily, I say unto you that this is decided in all the Vedas and other Shastras. There is nothing higher than this Adya Shakti. Therefore, this Supreme Shakti should be worshipped anyhow, either in her Saguna form or in her Nirguna state. Thus ends the 9th chapter of the first skandha on the killing of Madhu Kaitaba in the Mahapurana Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharshi Vedavyasa. That sort of ends a story cycle on Madhu Kaitaba. That's everything we've been reading today. Chapter 10 sort of starts up a new cycle that is followed in further chapters. So I think that that's probably a good point to break for the day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Devala.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
I had a question, if I may.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What does, because this comes up in stories, what does Vishnu's tiredness symbolize? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what does his weird, like the all-powerful, all-creating, sustaining?
Are you referring to his sleep at the start or his weariness in the battle?
Both. You know what I'm saying? Like, why?
Well,
Brahma,
not necessarily.
Can't get a response.
All of the Shastras agree that there is an equal period of sleep for the period of wakefulness of the universe. Yes, being identical with Vishnu. So currently, existence is dynamic. Here we are, being aware of passing phenomena in time, and there is a world and a universe. But all the Shastras agree that for however long there are periods where there are things happening, there are equal periods where there are not things happening, where the entire universe becomes unmanifest into yoga nidra. It's essentially the outward and inward cycle of being. And so that yoga nidra is the sleep of pralaya, when the entire universe becomes unmanifest. And for an equal span, now, time, calling it an equal span of time is somewhat arbitrary, because there's no measure by which time is passing when it's unmanifest. I think calling it an equal span of time, when of course no years are happening, nothing is moving, there is no standard to measure time, is essentially saying it is weighted with equal importance. That just as valid and part of reality as the cycle when things are, is the cycle when things are not. And this is called the sleep of Vishnu, the yoga nidra of Vishnu, when consciousness is merged purely in itself and is not in any way dynamically stirring or manifesting or engaging in an interplay of phenomena. So that is what is referred to as the sleep or the yoga nidra of Vishnu, essentially pure unmanifest transcendental consciousness.
Which also happens throughout the universe and all creation at times in same phases that would for Vishnu or a human or a being, a living being that needs sleep.
Sure. Well, in a way, that's kind of like more of a metaphorical comparison than actually the same phenomenon. Because it's not as though it's Vishnu needed sleep because he got tired. And even during sleep of like you or me, or a physical animal in a body sleeping, that's not transcendental consciousness. That's still very much phenomenal manifestation and activity. There's, biological processes going on. You may be dreaming, etc. But rather, it is on the deepest possible spiritual level. It is that consciousness isn't moving. It's not that consciousness ceases to be conscious, but it ceases to move. It's that the phenomenon of Brahman is not at that time taking on any manifestations. It's resting in its own pure state. It would be like a waveless ocean, like an ocean of like glass smooth, completely motionless water,
like
versus
ice, like freezing,
sure,
kind of.
Yeah. It could be more compared to water being frozen versus water flowing or water moving with waves.
Same lake, but frozen.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Yeah. So that's essentially what it represents. As for Vishnu tiring of the fight, that's a different thing.
Right.
That is here presented essentially as the Leela of Shakti. That it's again making this whole point of what Shakti is and how it is that she is, that one can conceive of her as supreme. Force is Shakti, any force. So Shakti had given her favor to Madhu and Kaitapa through her boon to them, that Shakti would not leave them, the energy of their life would not leave them, the energy of their vigor and their valor could only lessen in them by their will. That was the Icha Shakti boon, the Icha Mrityu boon that she gave them.
Wow.
And so she's like, certainly Vishnu is also possessed of limitless force, but he's, the Leela expressed here is that he had to tap into it, which is expressed as praying to her, engaging devotionally with force herself, Shakti herself, and essentially conciliating her and invoking her to his side and his cause, to assist him in working out how to overcome these beings that she gave her boon to with her cooperation.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. And I'm loving I'm loving how it's Kali that they're referring to. That's
Yeah.
who's being here. That's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it uses various names for her. It's called her Kali, Chandike, Shiva,
That's right.
Mahamaya, Adya Shakti. It refers to her by, I mean, they all have many names. It uses a lot of her various names, but Kali among them for sure.
Okay. Nice. I'm sure we're going to learn much more about how this works in the next few
Oh,
weeks.
yeah. Yes. This
Thanks so much.
one is much longer than the Vishnu Purana. This is more on par with the Bhagavata Purana in its scope.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Devla.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Jay Ma. Blessings.
Jai Ma.